So the steps in setting up the surrogacy, there's a lot to it. And what's interesting is there was a lot of planning and research that had to go into all of our births. So we took the lead, Sarah and I took the lead for our boys, for our clinic IUIs, and understanding the steps that needed to happen and what legalities needed set up. But for the surrogacy, the IPs took the lead. And so they did a lot of research beforehand in reading about what needs to be in place so that they can have what we call a parentage order after the birth, so that they get their names on birth certificates. There's just lots of legalities that need to go in place. So they did that initial research, and what that led to is a couple clear steps, and these are all, part of the Australian surrogacy law, and for us the Victorian surrogacy law, that just basically involve a certain amount of counseling hours to begin with, and so that counseling is between my wife and I and JR and Anthony to begin with first, and then all of us as a group. And so a counselor that's specific to surrogacy has to do that and has to sign off on the fact that we've all thought this through and talked out all the details. And so that for us, because we arrived at that counseling stage, already have had 2 children of our own together, already been in a relationship in a rainbow family together for 7 or 8 years, we mostly use those counseling sessions just to talk about all the fine details. So we talked about things like, how are we going to do birth, and what's it going to look like for breastfeeding, and nutting out all those kind of different details. But those counseling sessions are really beneficial. They just give you a chance to say what if, and what if JR and Anthony decide they don't want the baby, and what if I decide I can't give up the baby, and we just talk it out. And so we have to basically pass those counseling sessions to begin with. And with traditional surrogacy, it's really lovely. It actually stops there. So as far as Victorian law goes, we don't have to do much else. So we then can continue with trying to get pregnant, falling pregnant, and then doing a lot of different stages after birth. When you're not doing traditional surrogacy, you actually have to deliver a certain amount of evidence to a board, and the board has to approve it. But that was something we did that wasn't our experience, so we didn't have to go through that. So we stopped at the counseling, and then we decided just for the benefit of our boys and our families to do a contract as well, a legal contract. And that was something that we just felt would show additional evidence if we needed it at the end of the pregnancy. But it's not required or anything. And it's just basically a piece of paper that walks through all the stages that I'm not being paid, that we're doing this of our own free will, that I keep body autonomy, that it's my decision, and that I can, it says, in print that I can, make that decision about giving up the baby once I've had birth, and that I keep that right all the way through until we've had a parentage order put in place. So there's, that document for us was just sort of a formality. We just thought, look, there's no reason not to do this. Let's make sure everything's in writing. We didn't do it because anybody in the relationship felt we would ever need it, and that was the joy of doing a surrogacy as our third birth, and having been through my boys and gotten to see how they reacted when I had my boys, and how they sought an uncle type relationship with my boys, and didn't try to seek dad status or parent status or anything like that. So we really didn't do it because we had a fear, but it did give us the peace of mind that this legal piece of paper was going to be here, that stated exactly what was going to happen and what everybody was ready to accept. And so we did that a couple months before trying, and then, like I said, we kind of just sat and we thought, okay, let's wait and see. The boys knew I was breastfeeding my youngest, and so they just sort of said, you tell us when you're ready. And when COVID hit and it became this clear that we were all going to kind of be grounded for a year and have this quieter year than we expected, because we tend to travel all the time and have these wild adventures, we thought, why not use this year that we were going to be quiet and a bit more grounded than our family typically is to go after this surrogacy. And so that's what we did. We kind of just went from there.